Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahegana Ragnathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahigana Lalita Shri Vishakhanitansha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagapade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarvascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I know some devotees are traveling back home. That's okay. I also arrived some while ago, so that's okay. Take your time. We'll start the class wherever we can. So last week we were discussing this section of Bhagavad Gita. I'll just go to our PDF file. So we are in this Karma Yoga section where Arjun has asked a question from 336 onwards. So Krishna went to a detour. It's coming back to the original line of discussion and he's discussing about Karma Yoga in transcendental knowledge. So we did last week these three verses. We just do a quick recap and then we'll move forward. So 422, I see Madhuri Mataji on the top. Would you like to do, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in this verse, Krishna is saying Yadrucha Labha Santushto. So Yadrucha is by automatically. So automatically whatever we get, we need to be satisfied with that one. And next is Dvandvata Vimatsara. So
Dvanda Tito, Dvanda Atit.
Dvanda Tito. So they're free from duality. And free from duality. Duality here is like gain or loss, man or upman. So it should be free from duality. So and then Sama Siddhav Asiddhav Cha. Whether it is a failure or Sama is a study. So Siddhav or Asiddhav. So whether it is a success or a failure, it should be same. And here Dvandvata Vimatsara, I think it is free of envy as well. Yeah, it's duality and free of envy as well. And Krutva api na nibhadyate. Krutva nibhadyate is doing, although never becomes affected. Okay, so such people will never get entangled, although they are performing all the actions. So they will never get entangled into this karma or cycle of birth and death, such type of things. So overall summary is like those who are satisfied with whatever they get in by itself, then and also who is free from duality and does not have any enemy, and also he is a study in both success and failure. He is never entangled into this karma or in any actions. Even though they are performing the actions, they will never get entangled with the result of that action.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Now we can just look at this verse from back to front. Kritvapi na nibadyate. So na nibadyate, if you don't want to get bound into the karmic reaction action cycle, so what you have to do? Are you allowed to do karma or no? So the word clearly said here is kritvapi. You're allowed to do karma. But in what consciousness you're allowed? Some qualifications are given here. Yadracha. Mataji, sorry, just for the sake of everyone's benefit, Yadracha, you said automatic. What does automatic mean? So I just sleep in my couch, some food will come into my mouth, and
normally, by itself or normally it comes on its own. Like,
just any examples?
Whatever you get, whatever it comes to you, you should be satisfied with what you got.
By doing normal work. So Prabhupada says
normal
6 to 8 hours of work. So if we are sleeping on our couch, it will never happen. There's a shlok in Hitopadesh. Uddimeni siddhyanti karyani na manorathai nahi saptasya singasya pravishanti mukhe mragaha. Uddimeni siddhyanti. So when we are doing udyam, means hard work, siddhyanti, then only we get the perfection. And the example is given, nahi saptasya singhasya. If a lion is sleeping, pravishanti mukhe mragaha. Mragaha refers to the deer. So deers are not going to enter into a sleeping lion's mouth. Lion also has to work to get his prey. To get his food, he has to work. So yadraksha should not be taken as a matter of inactivity, as an excuse that we don't do our work and everything will come automatically. No. Prabhupada says devotees are extremely hardworking people, but obviously their consciousness to do that work, their purpose is very different. But from the material perspective, we do some normal work, whatever 6 to 8 hours of work required. And after that, we spend all of our time and energy for Krishna. Obviously, sometimes it may not be possible and you have to overstretch, but it should not be always the case. Yadracha, not you're working 16 hours a day just to earn a lot of money. And I think we also discussed the example of Rupa Goswami saying it's also called atyahar or prayas. Prayas here refers to over endeavor. So we have to maintain our body and family and all that, but we don't do over endeavor materially so much. Okay, one more example comes to my mind. When Prabhupada went to America, he didn't have money. How much money he had? Anyone remembers? Practically $0. People say 40 rupees, but 40 rupees was not convertible in America that time. So he practically had $0. When he was getting off the ship, he asked Captain Pandya that I don't have any money, but I have some books. Can you please buy some books? So he asked, how much, Swamiji? So Prabhupada said $16. So Captain Pandya was the first person to buy those books. He gave $20 to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada practically has zero money. So Prabhupada was in one corner of his mind was he didn't have any money. When they buy this 22nd Avenue first place in New York, the rent was $175 per month. Prabhupada that time, after 1 year of book distribution, had only $200 in his pocket. So in 1 year, Prabhupada had saved $200 in total, and the rent was $175. Prabhupada was not hesitant to pay that $175. He paid $175 for the next month. Forget the rent, even for the eating and other expenses. He had no money, but he had faith in Krishna. He had faith in Krishna. So not that he was blind towards expenses. He was counting the money, he was thinking, but that was not his primary focus. So here, this word should be taken very seriously in our life. So it's not earning money is wrong, but that should not be our primary focus, because we know Krishna is there. So we do our honest endeavor, whatever is needed based on the time, place, circumstances. But besides that, we know Krishna is the maintainer. He will maintain. And if some hardships comes, a devotee gracefully accepts on the way. Hardships are expected. Even if you over endeavor, hardships will come. So yadracha word is very, very important for a devotee to understand practically in his life. So not that a devotee sleeps, but he does a good amount of endeavor, but not over endeavor, because he has this trust in Krishna that if $1 million is supposed to come, it will come. I read an article in Back to Godhead magazine, a true article, obviously, a few years ago, probably 7-8 years ago. A temple was running short in funds. and devotees really didn't have any money. And it was a day of Janmashtami. They were intensely praying. If they don't pay rent of this property to the owner is going to kick them out next month. And they were intensely praying to Krishna in Janmashtami that please maintain this place. And somehow or other, I don't know, it's hard to believe it's true. A packet came from a window. It had exactly same amount of money which they needed for the rent. So that's what was written in the article in BTG. So how Krishna will provide, we don't know. We just have to continue with full focus our services. And then Krishna will maintain ultimately. I'm just looking at the Madhuri Mataji. She presented a beautiful drama. Krishna, the ultimate maintainer. Janardhan, the ultimate maintainer. So we have to have that trust. We cannot just overly focus only on material things. Again, not ignore the material things, but not overly focus on material things. That's called yadrachaya. Okay, 423. Who's next? Vinay Prabhu, Hare Krishna. You were there in the last class, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. 23, 423. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. So in here, Gata Sangasya Muktasya Jnana Avasthita Chetasya Jagaya Charat Karma Samagni Prabilayita. Yes. So in here, Prabhupada says like Gata Sangasya is one unattached of the modes of material nature. Yes. And who is unattached, he's always muktasya. He's always, he don't have any bondage. He's muktas. And Jnana Avasthita Chetasya. The situated in transcendent and those wisdom. Chetasya means, Prabhupada mentioned, it's Chetasya is wisdom. And the Jagaya Acharat Karma. So who is doing his duty, prescribed duty, and his Jagaya for the sake of Yagna. Prescribed duty means we have to do the service of Krishna. You know, this is our actually the duty. But if you do without Krishna duty, only material engagement, like material happiness, always material thing, then we cannot be muktasya. We cannot be like a. We always all action without Krishna make us bondage, and we cannot be going back to Krishna. And then Samagra Prabilayata is a very important word. You tell last class, like in total Samagram and Mars entirely. Yeah. So who is do their activity, prescribed activity, but always service with Krishna, live in the middle of Krishna, and there will be the no bondage, and go back to the Krishna adore. Is the like things, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. As Prabhuji was saying, this Samagram Praviliyate word is very important, and impersonalists love these words because, as per them, anywhere merging sort of indication comes, they become very happy. And Vaishnavas are, although not concerned about these words, they are not like having a competition where they're saying, oh, we have to respond, how to respond. Actually, it's very clear in the verse. It says karma. Samagram karma, all the karma. Here karma refers to the law of action and reaction. So whatever action, reactions they have in their account, that gets merged into yajna. Not they get merged. Their action, reaction, cycle, everything gets burnt up. Anyone remembers the examples we discussed last week? Tanya Mataji is nodding the head.
Yes. one example that you gave was of a river and ocean,
Yes.
and you said that the river just merges into the ocean and loses its individuality. But we are not like that. We are like the aquatic animals. When we merge into the ocean, we still retain our identity. So that's one example that I remember.
So we are like aquatics, as Rupa Goswami said. So
Yes.
we are in the river, and we are in the river of samsara. So we are all flowing, which is fine in the samsara. But when the river merges into the ocean, the aquatics who goes into the ocean don't die or don't get merged. They
Yeah.
maintain their individuality. The location is changed. That's fine.
Yeah.
And the second example, maybe someone else can say, Priya Mataji.
Can't remember, sorry, Prabhu.
Not remember. Okay, who else will say the second example? So Prabhupada gave one more example in the second chapter, I think 212, Prabhupada gave.
It's like the green bird in the green
Thank
tree.
you.
So when the bird goes into the green tree, it's not that the bird actually loses its individuality. It's actually us which cannot identify there is a green bird or the green tree.
Yeah. So green tree is there, green bird is there. We can't see, that's our problem, but bird is there. So when we go back to the spiritual world, even in there, like in Brahman, we don't lose our individuality. We stay there. Now, people outside cannot see. That's their limitation. But no one ever loses the individuality. Anyone remembers the Bhagavad Gita reference where we have discussed, where Krishna has said very clearly, everyone maintains their individuality always. There's one very clear and bold verse Krishna has said in the very beginning. Anyone? 212. Natvevaham jatu nasam, natam neme janadipa, na chaivna bhaishyama, sarve vayam ataha param. So clearly Krishna said there's never a time where you did not exist, nor me, nor all these kings. And in the future, no one of us will cease to exist. Very clearly, individuality will be retained, was always retained, and right now also we are all individual. But then Krishna says, Bahuni Vitinani, Janmani Tavsharjun, not Parantapa. So I remember all my births, but you, Arjun, you do not remember. So we Jiva don't remember, but Krishna remembers all of the birth. So very clearly, Bhagavad Gita is saying everyone is an individual. We never merge. Yeah, the karma gets merged because that person is situated in jnana. So Chetasa refers to the consciousness, avasthita situated jnana. So his consciousness is situated in jnana. What is this jnana we are talking about? The impersonal jnana, or which jnana we are talking here? What's a simple definition of jnana as per Prabhupada? So he's saying his mind is situated in Gyan. What is this Gyan? Are we Gyanis or Gyan yogis? Because it's clearly saying, Mukta, if your mind, your consciousness is situated in Gyan, you are liberated. Now, which Gyan we are talking here?
Prabhupada actually explains in the purport, it's becoming fully Krishna consciousness.
Thank you very much.
The knowledge of the Supreme Lord.
The Jivera Swarup Hoy. So that is the Gyan we are talking. We are not talking the Gyan of merging into the Brahman here. Very clearly, this Gyan refers to Jiva's original Swarupa Gyan. So we are all constitutionally part and parcel of Krishna. And when we realize that knowledge, again, we are situated in Gyan. So Prabhupada was called Jivan Mukta. So he was in the human body, in a human existence, so-called. But he was always liberated. He was not like us, bound in the material world with our karmic reactions. Okay, and anyone, any devotee situated fully in that jnana is liberated. Rupa Goswami used the word Jivan Mukta. Although he has a Jivan, he has a life, like different spiritual masters, they are all Jivan Mukta. Externally, it may look like, oh, they are getting tired, they may get disease, and some other human-like things, but they are all Jivan Mukta. Because of this verse, you can say they are Jnana Avasthita Chetasa, and we are Agyan Avasthita Chetasa. Our Gyan is covered. How it's covered? 337 onwards by lust. So because our Gyan, our knowledge is covered at this stage, we are not Mukta. We are bound by three modes of material nature. Okay, the last verse. Rupam Prabhuji, would you like to do?
Let me try. So, translation: a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. So this is, of course, the conclusion of the verse from 16 to 24. And it also talks further from 23rd, the yagya and the benefits of sacrifice. Moving on from there. Key things which I've take up in the last one is we use the word butter because since this looks after a wider audience and Western devotees are also included there. So Prabhupada used butter only to look after them. Originally it's ghee. And everything in our life can be done in Krishna conscious way. And if we do that, then ultimately we'll reach the goal of spiritual kingdom.
Yep. Thank you, Prabhu. That's the gist of the verse. Let's just look at a few verses. So Brahma word is used how many times in this verse?
6.
6 times. So Brahma Arpanam. So Arpanam refers to offering. So we are offering into the Brahma. What are we offering into a Brahma? So what do we offer in the yagya? What we see say in the temple? What do we offer in the yagya?
Fruits.
Some grains we offer, some ghee we offer.
Fruits.
Later on, yeah, fruits as well, some banana or something. So we offer something. So Haver refers to that offering which is being offered in the Brahma. So here Brahma is also the yagya. Brahma is also offering. Brahma, Agni, fire is also Brahma. Huh? So not only the yagya is Brahma, the things which are being offered is Brahma. The fire itself is the Brahma as well. Hutam, any ahuti, any oblations we give in that fire, that's also Brahma. Brahma ten gantavyam, Brahma karma samadhina. So Brahma karma samadhina, you can say, if I have to say one key word in this verse is Brahma karma samadhina. So basically it's saying every karma can be attached to the Brahma. Again, here Brahma does not refer to the impersonal Brahma or Jyoti. Here Brahma refers to spiritualizing the activity. And this is what Srila Prabhupada was always emphasizing. We can dovetail all our activities for the pleasure of the Lord. That can include any activity. You're good in singing or cooking. Any such thing can be spiritualized. If it is done for the pleasure of the Lord, and then that activity will not produce the reaction of that activity. Rather, that will become your akarma. That in externally speaking, it's activity, but does not produce a reaction. So it's called akarma. Now, one important thing we discussed in this verse last week, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gave a very beautiful explanation of these terminologies. Who will say that? Nidhi Mataji, do you remember that analogy which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives for this particular verse? No problem.
No, thank you.
No problem. Sakhi Radhika Mataji, if possible.
Oh, I don't remember. I
Okay,
didn't.
no worries. No worries. I thought someone else can say. Jai Prakash Prabhu, I'm not sure you were there last week. Okay, maybe he's not able to say. That's fine. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I think you are referring to the Kurukshetra war where
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna was fighting the battle. So he's offering everything, whatever the outcome of the battle, to Virat Rupa, which is Lord Krishna. So all the armies are entering his mouth, and
so this word here, Brahma Iten Kantavyam, they will go to Brahma. That refers to the Virat Purusha. So whatever offering we are doing for the pleasure of the Lord, right? Whatever ghee we offer or grains we offer, just for the pleasure of the Lord. So they go to the Lord. So Agni is considered the mouth of Lord Vishnu. So when we offer, say in a normal fire yagya, we give it to Lord Vishnu. So here saying Brahma Iten Gantavya, they will go to Brahma. Who is the Brahma here? As per Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is the Virat Purusha. As per explained in 10th and 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So Virat Purusha is accepting. What is he accepting? The offering. What is the offering being done here? The dead bodies of Kauravas, isn't it? Arjuna is shooting the arrows and he's killing the Kauravas or all these, demoniac mentality people. And that includes Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya as well. So all these being offered. So these offering is not offering of a grain, it's an offering of Kauravas. So that's ahuti. And what's the ladle? What's the spoon used in this yagya?
Weapons.
The bows of
The weapons.
Arjuna.
The arrows of Arjuna. So Arjun put his Shakti in the arrow and he shoots the arrow on a particular person, and then he sort of leaves the body. So the ladle, Vishnu Chakra Thakur says, is the spoon of the yajna, and Kauravas are the offering, oblations being made. And what is the Yajna-sthali? Where the Yajna is performed? That's the battlefield. Battlefield is like the Yajna-sthali. And he is offering Kauravas into that by the ladle of his arrows and going to Virat Purusha. So this whole activity, which Arjuna is seeing as a very ghastly activity of killing people, actually is considered as Yajna, isn't it? It's a Yajna, because it's done for the pleasure of the Lord. So what Krishna is explaining through this particular verse to Arjun and to us. So first to Arjun, you think it's a ghastly activity. Actually, it's not a ghastly activity. Why? Because if the offering is done for the Virat Purusha, for the Lord, it is actually a yajna, because you are pleasing the Lord. And what Krishna is teaching all of us through this analogy, anyone can say? Brahma Karma Samadhina. So that's the line for us. Our every activity can be performed in the mood of yajna. Every activity. In one of the Puranas, I can't remember, even begetting children is being explained properly. Actually, it's a yajna. It's a yajna. So nothing is outside the yajna. What we speak of other things, everything is done in that mood of I'm putting my energy, I'm putting my mind, I'm putting my money for the pleasure of the Lord. The varieties will be different, the external forms will be different, but the mood is of yajna. I am offering this to Lord Vishnu. I really like this. And now Krishna will explain different types of yajna from 425 onwards. So let's see what are different types of yajnas. Okay, so who wants to read 421 first? Ujjwala Samataji and Akhand Rasa Prabhu, welcome back. We went for a short holidays. Welcome back, Prabhuji and Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Would you like to read one verse?
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Daivam eva pare yajnam.
Daivam eva pare yagnam.
Yogina paryupasate.
Yoginaha paryupasate.
Brahmagna apare yajnam.
Brahmagna apare yagyam.
Yagne naivo pajuvati.
Yagne naivo pajuhyati.
Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman.
Thank you, Mataji. So here you see a series of verses where different types of sacrifices different people are doing. So don't get inside too much technicalities here. Let's see an overall picture here. So Daivam eva pare. So apare word. Now we are reading in another classes apare word. Apare vasudevasya. So apare refers to some group of people, some other people. So apare, some of them, they are doing yajna, but they are doing yajna of whom? Daivam. So they are doing yajna for the demigods. Prabhupada writes some yogis. So who are doing? Yoginaha paripase. So some yogis are doing yajna, sacrifices for devas. Paripasta refers to puja, worship. Another apare. See, this word is used twice here. Apare and apare. So some yogi worship demigods. Some apare, other ones, do yajna. Same word is used here. Yajna and yajna. Brahmagna. So they do yajna for the Brahman. Now, Prabhupada, some offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Who are these people referred? So these people are referred to as Karmakandis. They do, some demigod worship to achieve something. We do Indra Yajna, Surya Yajna, Ganesh Yajna, Durga Yajna. There's so many activities they do. That's fine. And some other offer sacrifice in the fire of Supreme Brahman. These are talking about Mayavadis. They want to merge themselves into the Brahman. Now they're right or wrong, that's a different part of discussion. But here what they're trying to do, they're merging themselves. So when you throw a grain into the fire of yajna, say a fire yajna, what happens to the grain? Grain loses the individuality, right? So they think, at least they think, if I offer myself to the Brahman, I will merge. So in that sense, they're also performing a yajna. They're offering themselves into the yajna, isn't it? Let's see more varieties. 426. Seva Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Prabhu, Hari Bol. Can you just revise that previous one? I was just,
Yes, Mataji.
just the main gist of it.
Yes. So main just Mataji, different types of sacrifices are explained in series of verses from 425 to I guess 432 or 33. Different people are doing different types of sacrifices. And then Krishna will establish what is the goal of the sacrifices. And then Krishna will establish in the 34 onwards, how do you achieve that goal? And what is the glory of that goal? What is the glory of that knowledge? Huh? So all these verses are literally explaining different types of sacrifices different people are doing. And we'll literally see different people sacrifices different things. But one good thing Krishna says, and which I will explain around 432 or 433, what is the gist of it? What's the goal of it? Is it okay? So some people clearly he is saying, offering the sacrifices for the devas, for the demigods. Some people offer themselves for the Brahman. And as I said, they are for Mayavadi, they want to merge themselves. So they are putting them as an offering into the Brahman. Is that okay?
Okay, so this one is, the previous one was the Brahman, and then now we are talking about demigods. So just a different type of sacrifices, really.
Yes, ma. So here, actually starting here, Mataji, 425, here is starting. The previous one was saying every activity can be spiritualized depending on your vision. For example, so you're saying the two types are there in this verse. One is worshipping demigods, one is worshipping Brahman. Now they don't worship Brahman, they meditate on Brahman, but they're offering themselves into the Brahman, into impersonal Brahman. That's what they think. Huh? Now Vaishnava understanding obviously is different, but that's what they are doing. Now for the first one also we can say 9th chapter, I think somewhere around 22, 23, Krishna says, when you're worshipping demigods, actually you're worshipping me, but in an incorrect way. Yajanti avidhi purvakam. Krishna clearly says that. So whether it's Brahman or demigod worship, actually everyone is worshipping Krishna. Brahman is also energy of Krishna. Huh? So in that sense, obviously Vaishnava understanding is different, but here is just presenting a fact of different types of sacrifices which different people do. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. 426. Seva Mataji, would you like to read the verse?
Sure, I can try.
That's okay, Mataji.
Shrotra dinindriya ni anye.
Shrotra indriyan anye.
Samya magneshu juvati.
Sayyam agnishu juhiyati.
Sabda din vishayan anya.
Shabda din vishayan anya.
Indriyagishu juvati.
Indriyagnishu juhiyati. Translation, Mataji.
Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses.
Thank you, Mataji. So this verse again is speaking about different types of sacrifice. Let's read the first one. Shrotra. So Shrotra refers to our oral reception. Shrotra. Adi. Adi refers to again other. Indriyani. Indriyani refers to the senses. So here in the previous verse, we have used the word apare. Apare means some people. Here anye, similar things. So some anye, some other people are, what are they offering? Shrotra, their karnendriya, like their hearing process, they are offering. Sanyam agnishu, and what are they, how are they offering? Sanyam. Sanyam is controlled way. So they control their hearing and other indriyas, other senses. Now other people, anya again, so this is again one category in first two lines, another category in second two lines. So you remember there were two categories in the previous verse, two categories in this verse. So first one and the second one. Second one, Sabdadin in the Sabdadin Vishayan Anya. So Sabdadin again refers to Sabda, the sound, vibration. Anya again other indriyas, other senses. Indriyagnishu juyati. They offer their indriya, their senses into the Agni. What does it mean? Prabhupada clearly writes here. So the first one refers to the unadulterated brahmachari. So brahmacharis, if you imagine someone who has dedicated his life completely for Krishna. So just one example, which is given in the verse Shrotra. So what do they hear? What do the brahmacharis hear? At least most of the time, what do they hear? Krishna Katha or like the Sansar Katha, like the worldly Katha. What do they hear? Krishna Katha, isn't it? So they may desire to hear, you know, Michael Jackson music or some other Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood music. But what do? They do Sanyam. Sanyam refers to they do control of their Indriya. Now, it is just one example of oral. They do control of the Indriyas of the eyes. They do control of the Indriyas of the Jiva, of the tongue. So all these Indriyas, all the senses, they control for a higher purpose, isn't it? They may want to eat something which is non-prasadam. They want to see something which is not very conducive for devotional life. They want to hear some other mundane music. But what do they do? Sanyam. Sanyam means regulation. Indriya Daman. They do that Indriya Daman. What are they doing Indriya Daman for? For a higher purpose, because these are lower things. They're not conducive for my devotional life. So if I can do Sanyam, I can do control on them, I will experience a higher thing. So this is about the brahmacharis, the first two lines. Third and fourth line, Shabdadin Vishayan Anya, similar thing given, but for whom? Prabhupada writes, regulated householders. Regulated householders. Now, in some sampradaya, I wouldn't name them. Unless you are a complete celibate, they consider you cannot advance in devotional life. But that's not true in Vaishnava understanding. In Vaishnava understanding, we have a word called Grahastha Brahmachari. And Prabhupada writing that regulated householders. He is not just a Grahastha who just Grahamedi. The Bhagavatam used the word Grahamedi. Grahamedi means one who is only living for the sake of house and the family and the money and all household thing. But Grahastha word who is related to Grahastha ashram is related to the ashram. Ashram refers to any ashrama you are in. Anyone remembers? We discussed the word varna and ashrama. So varna is for what purpose and ashrama is for what purpose? Anyone? We have seen that in 4.13. Chatur varnyam maya shishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. So what does varna stands for in one sense? What is used for? For the external purposes, and ashrama is used for internal purposes. So when we are living in the world, we have to adopt some livelihood. We may be a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So based on our psychophysical nature, we can be a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. But no matter who we are, say a Brahman or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, but we follow Grahastha ashram, Brahmachari ashram, Sannyas ashram, or Vanaprastha ashram. Each ashram is for the elevation of that soul going towards Krishna. So here Grahastha is considered a ashram. So it's not something which we condemn. Actually, it's respected. If you see, there are 12 Mahajans in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yamraj is telling out of 12 Mahajans, 7 are actually Grahasthas. So Grahastha is not something which is looked lower. Actually, Grahastha is considered very, very respectable, as respectable as a sannyasi he or she can be, because this is an ashrama where we take ashray, we take shelter of Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying this regulated householders, in technical language called Grahastha Brahmacharis. They're called Grahastha Brahmacharis, and Prabhupada explains that very nicely. They sacrifice objects of the senses. Usually the Grahasthas, or people who are married, want to see some movies, listen to some music, go for some holidays here and there, do so many things with all the senses and the sense objects. But a regulated householders, what they do, they sacrifice the object of senses. They may also want to hear something or listen something, watch something, but they sacrifice everything in the fire of the senses. So they do not go out of the boundary line. Now, Prabhupada writes very nicely here, a brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness. Hearing is the basic principle for understanding, and therefore a pure brahmachari engages fully in Hare Nam Anusin Kirtanam. So the first two lines are Priya. Shrota refers to the brahmacharis. Now Prabhupada explains the second, third, and fourth line. He restrains himself from vibration of material sounds, and his hearing is engaged in the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Similarly, now this is the explanation of Prabhupada for the line 3 and 4. The householders who have some license for sense gratification perform such acts with great restraint. Sex life, intoxication, and meat eating are general tendencies of Hindu society, but a regulated householder does not indulge into like that for other sense gratification activities. So very clearly, this is explained in this verse. They also do sacrifice. Sacrifice, what does sacrifice mean? Anyone? In simple language, you can say, what does sacrifice mean? The things which we can use for our own sense gratification, we give that to Lord Vishnu. Now, it can be some other demigods or someone else as well, but in our understanding, we understand Yagyarthat Karmano Yatra. So Yagya refers to Lord Vishnu. So, and Yagya refers to Lord Vishnu. Yagya refers to a principle of sacrifice where we stop using those things for our sense gratification, rather we use it for the pleasure of the Lord, and that becomes a sacrifice. And that sacrifice, that act, does not produce a reaction if done for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. So here again, two categories are given, one for the brahmacharis, one for the grihasthas. Let's look at some more categories. Sumandira Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Mataji, would you like to read verse 27?
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, but screen is not clear to me. I can't see it properly.
Ah, okay. No worries, Mataji. If you have a book, or if not.
Yes, I have a book, Prabhuji. Just give me 1 second, Prabhuji.
Sure.
Yes, I got it. Sorry, Prabhuji.
That's okay.
Prabhuji is 427.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, I got it, Prabhuji. Sarvana nindriya karmani.
Sarvanindriya karmani.
Prana karmani chapare.
Prana karmani chapare.
Atma samyam yogagnau.
Atma samyam yogagnau.
Yutva jnanadipate.
Juhyati jnanadipate.
Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, apare, again, you can sort of choose this common word, apare or anya. So others, what are they doing? Sarvanindriya karmani. So sarvanindriya means all the indriyas, all the senses, and the karma which is performed by the indriyas, they actually offer prana karmani chapare. So here prana refers to the pranavayu, and Prabhupada says here life breath. So here prana does not refers to your life, so you give up your life. It refers to pranavayu. Krishna will explain that little later, more about it. So they actually offer everything. Atma Sanyam. Where do they offer this? Atma Sanyam, in regulation. So they actually do all the activities from all the senses with Atma Sanyam, with full regulation. Why are they doing with full regulation? Because they want to achieve self-realization. What's their mental status? Juhyati. Juhyati word also you can make a note. It's very important, very repeated word. Offering. Juhyati means offering. Offering. Jnana Deepate, because they are situated in jnana. So once you know the knowledge of self-realization come into you, you actually offer every activity as a sacrifice for the pleasure of the Lord. So read again the translation. Who are interested in achieving self-realization, what do? Through the control of mind and senses, offer function of all the senses. It's not only we offer our eyes and nose and tongue to Krishna. What about ears? I can hear the Michael Jackson music. No, not like that. They offer all the senses. If you remember second chapter, I think it's 269 or 70 verse, Krishna clearly says, you are situated in a boat, and even one hole in the boat will make the boat drown. One hole means even one sense, if you leave unattended in Krishna's service, even one sense. So out of 9 holes of the body, even one hole is open for the material things, that hole will drown you. One analogy Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj gave, a very nice analogy. He says, if you are going in a boat, so where the boat is in the water. So when boat is in water, it's all right. But water is in the boat, is that all right? When boat is in the water, it's perfectly fine. So is water the enemy of the boat or the friend of the boat? Anyone? He said actually in Bengali, I don't know Bengali. Rupam Prabhu knows Bengali. I don't know if you know the Bengali of this one. But anyway, he said, if the boat is in the water, no problem, perfectly fine. But water should not be in the boat. So we are like traveling this boat of our body and consciousness. And we are in the sansar. Sansar is quite contaminated, especially in Kali Yuga. Huh? So we are situated here, no problem. But if Kali Yuga comes inside us, if the water comes inside us, is that good or bad? Very good. I love the music. I love the Hollywood, Bollywood. I love to eat so many things. So that means Kali Yuga is inside us, and that inside Kali Yuga is not going to help us in advance spiritually. So we can be in the water. We have to be in the world, but the world should not come inside us. Now, in that sense, the question is water the enemy of the boat or the friend of the boat? Who will say?
Depends, bro.
Depends. Hari bol. Very political answer. Huh? Can you explain, Prabhuji, or depends?
Well, as you just mentioned, it depends. If the water is outside, it's you are in control. But if the water is inside, you are contaminated or you are going to drown.
Thank you, Pro. So that's the answer. It's both ways. Huh? So the water helps us to boat to reach from A to B. If you're going from this side, from a river to other side, you need water. Suppose if there is no water, how will you travel actually? Huh? We can't leave the world. We can't leave the body. We have to have the body to perform some sadhana. But if the body gets contaminated, if the water comes inside, then actually water is an enemy. So when you are living in Kali Yuga, go for it. You are there, you can't leave it, but don't let the Kali Yuga come inside you. And how do we stop Kali Yuga coming inside us? A simple answer Prabhupada gave: by being completely Krishna conscious all the time. And that acts like an umbrella. So if you're going in a rain, you have an umbrella, you will not be wet. So our umbrella is the holy name of Krishna. So when you are constantly in touch of holy name, that acts like an umbrella, then Kali Yuga cannot come in and the boat can travel into the water. And the same Kali Yuga will actually help us to get out of this. Karer dosho nidhe rajan asti eko mahan guno kirtanad ev krishnasya mukta sangha param rajet. So there are thousands of dosh in this Kali Yuga, but there's one mahan gun, one very great property of Kali Yuga. What is that? Kirtanad ev krishnasya. Just by doing the kirtan of Krishna, mukta sangha param rajet, you can go back to Godhead. You can go back to Godhead. So in that sense, water is the friend of boat as far as the water is outside and not inside. Huh? Okay, 427. Now let's go to 428. Tanya Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Dravya yagya tapo yagya.
Dravya yagya stapo yagya.
Yoga yagya statha pare.
Yoga yagya statha pare.
Swadhyaya yagya yagyascha.
Swadhyaya gyan yagyascha.
Yataya samsita vrataha.
Yatayaha samsita vrataha.
Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge.
Thank you, Mataji. So we'll start from the bottom of this. Samsit Vrata. So Vrata refers to the vow. We have this Ekadashi Vrata, Janmashtami Vrata, Ramnami Vrata. So every Vrata we take some sort of vow. We'll chant extra rounds, we'll go for Mangala Aarti, we'll not eat till Lord Ram appears, say midday, for example, or Janmashtami. So we take vows. Samsita Vrata, Prabhupada writes, strict vows. Strict vows. So some other, what's the common word here? Apare. You can understand this word is coming in every single verse of this series. So apare, some other people, they take actually strict vows. For what purpose? Yatayaha, because they want to become enlightened. So anytime you want to achieve something higher in the material world, you have to do some sacrifice. They say in English, no pain, no gain. So unless you take pain, I'm talking in a good purpose, you'll not gain it. Even to pass a normal exam, students work very, very hard to get a job, to maintain a job. It's hard work. So you have to take some sort of vow to be able to pass the exam. So similarly, if you want to achieve some higher things, higher consciousness, you have to have some vrataha. Some vows should be there, and strict vows. Not that, today we chant, 64 rounds, and tomorrow we chant 16, and third day is 0 round. We take Ekadashi Vrata and then we leave it, or any other thing. So anything you want to achieve, you have to take some Vrata. So these people are taking Vrata. So what are they doing? Let's look at the list of different types of Yagyas again. Dravya Yagya. So Dravya refers to Dravya, possessions. So any possession. So you have money, you have position, you have a prestige, you have some other furniture, they're all called dravya. Dravya yagya, so basically you offer your possessions in yagya, in sacrifice. So many people give money, for example, to poor people. They give medications, they give some accommodation. If you go in yatra in Vrindavan or Mayapur, many times you'll see many camps are there where some rich people actually organize that, the prasadam distribution is going on 24/7. Anyone can come there and eat prasadam. You may not know that person, but they're actually offering their possessions for the service of other people. Tapo yagya, some people are doing great austerities. I will not eat for the month of Chaturmas. I'm not sure how many are doing here. We have our Mohit Prabhu. I remember he was doing Chaturmas, a very strict Chaturmas, very, very strict. For last 5 days of Bhishma Panchak, he took 5 spoons, 1 spoon ghee one day, 1 spoon honey one day, 1 spoon milk one day, and 1 spoon probably dahi one day, and one more spoon. You can find out from Priya Mataji, she will know more. So these people are just amazing. They do for 4 months. I know Prem Sagar Prabhu is following a very strict vow. I think he's only taking fruits for 4 months. Now, how many of us can do that for 4 days? I'm not sure. I can't do it. But some people take so strict vows. But what are they doing it for? For a higher purpose. They take a vow, again, for the pleasure of the Lord. They don't want anything back except pleasing the Lord. It's very nice. Now, again, our movement is not a very austere movement in that sense. Prabhupada never overemphasized on these fasting things. He overemphasized on sadhana and service. So you do nice sadhana and you do nice service to Krishna. Eating part was not so much overemphasized. Prabhupada said Ekadashi also. Follow simple Ekadashi. What is a simple Ekadashi as per Prabhupada? No grains and no beans. That's what Prabhupada said. Now, all these extra things which exist, they are not wrong, but Prabhupada never overemphasized. Prabhupada also said, if you can fast till 12 o'clock, it's very nice. Prabhupada himself used to fast till 12 o'clock on Ekadashi. So many devotees took it from Prabhupada, but Prabhupada was never like, you should take a vow that you will do all the Nirjala till 12 o'clock, nothing like that. So, it's a story of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, where he personally cooks khichdi. Khichdi means grain khichdi for his brahmachari disciples and said, you eat the khichdi and then you go for book distribution. So our movement is a preaching movement where if we need to have some prasadam, it's perfectly fine, but our seva is more important. Our service is more important. But some people take very strict vows. That is also a yajna, isn't it? We read many Puranas, 80,000 years, they were eating dry leaves. 10,000 years, they were eating dry leaves. Dhruv Maharaj having just the air for 1 month. Now, how many of us takes air 1 month? Not sure. This afternoon in temple, we were having a plate in our hand at 1:45. We were eating till 2 o'clock, and 2:15 we had another plate in our hand, isn't it? Many of you were there. One plate wasn't finished, and the second plate came in hand. That's tapa of ISKCON. Prabhupada made so beautiful arrangement, and you go in the evening, feast has already started, I guess. So it's like Jagannath is enjoying, all the devotees of Jagannath is also enjoying whole day. We are having good time in temple. That's called tapa yagya. Now ISKCON, it says our tapa is very different. What's our tapa? Overeating. We eat a lot. Anyway, it's okay if you can digest. Yoga yagya, some are doing yoga. Here yoga, Prabhupada right says Ashtanga yoga. So some Ashtanga yogis are doing great austerities. They are meditating, they are sitting in a lotus posture and doing so many asanas, very strict regulation for sleeping and eating and all those things. Some do Swadhyaya yagya. Is anyone doing Swadhyaya yagya these days? Any one of you? What does Swadhyaya yagya mean? Swa-adhyan. Anyone reading Bhagavad Gita? We're all doing Swadhyaya yagya. Because what are we doing in yagya? We are offering something. What are we doing when we are reading Bhagavad Gita? How is it a yagya? Krishna actually says in 1870 or 71, one of those verses says, by reading Bhagavad Gita, actually you're worshipping me with your intelligence. So this is called Swadhyay. When you pick up a book and you read, what are we actually offering? Our intelligence, our focus, our concentration, because if you don't read the book with the concentration, will you get the concepts? Probably not. You can read for the sake of reading, but when your Swadhyay means you really contemplate on the subject matter while you're reading and try to understand, oh, this works like that. Oh, this is very nice. So this is called Swadhyay. So many people in Jnana Marga, they're doing Swadhyay. They're doing books and books and books. If one of us goes in front of them, we may think we know a lot. We are doing Bhakti Shastri, or we have done halfway through whatever. You go in front of them, your knowledge would be like a tiny, miny insect in front of their knowledge. You go to South India, so many Brahmanas are there. But your tiny knowledge actually is higher than their knowledge. Why? Because your tiny knowledge is purely for the pleasure of Lord, is purely to come closer to the Lord. And their huge number of knowledge, huge number of books they have assimilated in their head, most of them, if not all, are not changing their life at all with their knowledge. Their knowledge is just for speaking, for impressing people, or probably for their livelihood. So that's also saw that they spend a lot of time in studying and learning those shlokas. So some people do that. So all these people are doing the yajna, different, as I said, Dravya yajna, Tapo yajna, Yoga yajna, and Swadhyaya yajna is mentioned. They take strict vows to do those yajnas.
Oh, sorry, can you repeat the yoga yagna again?
Ashtanga yoga, Mataji. Ashtanga yoga, where you're doing 8 different stages. You're doing asan, pranayam, pratyahar, samadhi, dhyan, and all those things. We'll read that more in 6th chapter, Mataji. It refers to Ashtanga yoga. Prabhupada writes here, the practice of yoga of 8-fold mysticism, Ashtasiddhi. They are called Ashtanga yogis. Okay, so let's read. So you see all these verses are dealing with different types of yajna, which different people are doing. 2 more verses, I think 29 and 30, and then 31, not Prabhupada, Krishna will give the conclusion. Okay, Didi Mataji, would you like to read this?
Yes, Prabhuji. So 29. Apane juhavati pranam.
Apane juhyati pranam.
Prane panam tatha pare.
Prane panam tatha pare.
Pranapana gati rudva.
Pranapana gati rudva.
Pranayam
Pranayama
pranayam. Apare niyatraha.
Apare niyataharaha.
Prananan praneshu juhaveti.
Pranan praneshu juhyati.
Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restrain to remain in trance. Practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others curtailing the eating process offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, one section is given here, and all these words, pranam, prana, pana, pranayama. So you can see very clearly this is referring to, again, those yogis. We are very interested in doing different type of breathing activities. And basically what do they do in the breathing activities? They equilibrate the outgoing breathing and ingoing breathing. Any Prabhujis or Matajis doing yoga here? I'm not sure. They will know more than me. But anyway, there are different terms in yoga, so I don't know too many terms, but there's a kumbhak, there's a rechak. Rupan Prabhu is nodding his head. He may know more terminology, but the point here is you do breathing control. And for what purpose? I've heard that, I've not experienced as yet. Through the breathing control, you basically control your mind. When the breathing is in control, your mind is in control. So the purpose actually is very nice. But obviously our mind control is just not the breathing control. Prabhupada says our pranayam is you come in the kirtan and dance a lot and get very tired. That is our pranayam. If some other technical people will hear this definition, they'll be very shocked. Oh, how come pranayam is, doing full control of breathing and very relaxed. So Prabhupada is saying jumping up and down in front of deities. And, when the breath starts going like that, that is our pranayam. So our pranayam is very, very different, very, very different. But here the pranayam referring to controlling the breath, basically inward breath and outward breath. There's a pran, there's 5 different types of vayus, which we don't have to go into much detail. Pran vayu, apan vayu. So pran vayu goes outwards, apan vayu goes downwards. Anyways, all these 5 vayus, all these 5 different types of airs, they put into an equilibrium state by which they can control their mind. That's the purpose. So that's also sort of yoga. It's not easy. It's not easy. I tried to do pranayam probably 6 months ago. 2 minutes doing breathing exercise was difficult. And then obviously after 1 or 2 days, we don't survive much. Anyway, for good purpose, very nice. Many sannyasis do this to make their body very healthy, and devotees should do it as much as required and needed. Again, we're not going to become expert in those activities. Our goal is to please Krishna, but in pleasing Krishna, we need to maintain the body. And as much as possible, we should try to make a very healthy body for Krishna's service. So they are doing this. Apare, the other ones, what they are doing, niyat ahara. So ahara refers to the food intake, and niyat means controlled food intake. So many yogis, I heard one yogi in India, he had not eaten food 20 or 30 years, I can't remember. And they locked him in a room, they tested something on him, they put a CCTV for 6 days or something. He did not sleep, he did not accept a drop of water, and his energy levels were exactly same. They watched him for 6 or 7 days on CCTV. It was presented somewhere. So there are yogis who are quite well controlled. They have not taken food and they're perfectly fine. They're just walking yogis. They're not very advertised, but they have this sort of control. They have achieved it. Now, it's not easy. It's not easy, but they have done it. Pranat praneshu juhyati. So Prabhupada writes, the curtailing means, regulating the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. So these are all different types of sacrifices which different people are doing. One good thing is there, again, you don't have to go into much detail. One good thing is that they accept a higher authority and they want to achieve something higher. They don't put their senses for a gross sense enjoyment. If you talk a normal Western word, eat, sleep, and be merry. That's what they say. What do they call? In Australia, 3 B's are there. Anyone knows what 3 B's are there? Beach, beer, and one more thing. Anyone? They're all devotees here. Anyway, they say 3 B's in Australia. So you go to the beach, have a beer, and something else. So 3 B's. But these people are not into these 3 B's because they understand gross sense gratification will never give the satisfaction. The higher the sacrifice, the higher the happiness we achieve. So you see some people smoking, eating all the nonsense, they may seem to be happy, but the people who are helping others to say get the food, they're actually feeling happier. The people who serve their nation and give up their life, actually they have a higher purpose to give their life for. And some people give their life as Prabhupada for Krishna. One Prabhupada disciple was saying, in the appreciation of Prabhupada, Prabhupada practically murdered himself. Why? He was so much traveling. Traveling actually kills the body. You travel from here to India or something like that. You get tired for 3 days. I'm just coming from India. Some people, I'm coming from Melbourne. I was speaking to Ujjwal Mataji. She said, Prabhu, I'll be half asleep in the class. My time zone is not adjusted. I said, it's all right. So we travel. It's very tiring. Look at these sannyasis. They travel round the world, round the clock. I am remembering His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj. His name is there in the Guinness World Records, Guinness Book of World Records. He is the most traveling person exists on this planet. He travels so much, but why is he traveling? He is traveling for the benefit of humanity, for the ultimate benefit of humanity, because he has so much compassion. Now, if someone gives us a free ticket, a free food and all that, and say, Prabhuji, can you travel every week, from here to Melbourne and Melbourne come back? How many of you will travel? I will not. It's a very, very austere thing. Even for material purposes, it's very difficult, very, very difficult. What to speak of spiritual purpose? These devotees are giving up their life, no matter what happens to them. They are unstoppable. Why they are doing it? They are having a higher purpose. What is the higher purpose? To please the Lord, to please their spiritual master. By by pleasing Lord and spiritual master, they feel so much pleasure in their heart, because everything in the world is pleasure driven, isn't it? Everything, everyone is pleasure driven. Now, where we seeking pleasure, that depends. Huh? We're seeking pleasure in a bottle of beer, or we're seeking pleasure in pleasing our spiritual master. So the degree can vary, but the point is every living entity is pleasure seeking, where we are seeking the pleasure. But these people are not seeking pleasure in the gross material enjoyment. Huh? They are seeking pleasure for a higher purpose. So that's nice. Now, that higher purpose may not be the highest, someone connecting to Brahman, someone connecting to Devas, someone connecting to Swadhyay, someone connecting to sacrificing their wealth, but they are higher than material sense gratification activities. That's why they are appreciated, but they are not the topmost. Let's look at the last verse in this series, 430. Who hasn't read as yet? I see Prasanna Prabhu. If you could.
Krishna Prabhu, yeah, I'll try. Sarve api yate yajna vido.
Sarve api ete yajna vido.
Yajna shapita kalmasha.
Yajna shapita kalmashaha.
Yajna shishtamrita bhujo.
Yajna shishtamrita bhujo.
Yanti Brahma Sanatano.
Yanti Brahma Sanatanam.
All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reaction, and having tasted the nectar of results of sacrifice, they advance towards the supreme eternal atmosphere.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So 425 to 429, 5 verses were dedicated to different types of sacrifices. Now this verse is the conclusion. 430 and 431 is, you can say, the conclusory verses of this section. So whatever different types of sacrifices Krishna explained, where it was Dravya Yagya, the Yagya for the wealth, or it was Tapo Yagya, or it was Yagya for the Brahman, whatever different types of yagyas were there, what is the eventual result of those yagyas? That's been explained in 430 and 431 as a conclusion of this section. So, sarve api ete. So, all these yagya vido, they are the knower. Vida means to know. They know yagya, they know the sacrifice. Again, here sacrifice refers to the principle of sacrifice. That if they offer something lower, they will achieve something higher. Huh? Isn't it? That's what they say in Indra Yagya, Swargarohan Yagya. They offer some material grains or money to Dakshina, to Brahmanas and all those. And they hope they will be elevated to Sarvloka. So here also we are giving something lower to attain something higher. So these people know the principle of Yagya. Yagya Shapit Kalmasha. So what is the result? The first result. So 2 results are given in this particular verse of performing a sacrifice. Now that sacrifice can be for Krishna or can be for material things. What are the 2 results? The first one is Yagya Shapit Kalmasha. Kalmasha refers to anyone without looking, if possible? Gandagi, contaminations. Huh? So we are all contaminated. We agree with that. Again, the degree will vary. We're all contaminated. Huh? So by doing yagya, by doing sacrifice, you get cleansed. Huh? You get cleansed. And we experience that. Even if you sit in fire sacrifice, you feel sometime, the smoke may be too much, but you feel a sort of satisfaction in your heart, especially if it is done for Lord's pleasure. So the first benefit of yagya is what? Cleanliness. Huh? We get cleansed. Yagya shapit kalmasaha. Yagya shishtamrit bhujo. What does shishta mean? Anyone remembers? A verse in Bhagavad Gita, very, very famous verse. Yagya shishta word is used. Everyone knows that. Thinking. Yagya shishta asana santo muchante sarvakil vishai bhujate te tugam papa ye pachanti atma karana. 330. Huh? Yagya shishta. Yagya shishta means the remnants of yagya. Remnants of yagya. What do we eat? All of the devotees, what do we eat? Yagya shishta. But we don't perform any yagya. No, you do actually. When we offer your bhoga plate to Krishna, you are doing yagya. You could have eaten that food directly, but you actually give it to Krishna and say, Krishna, you please accept. And whatever will be remained, that is called shishta. What is remained in the plate? Now you may say, okay, I offered 4 chapatis to Krishna and Krishna only ate 0. He gave 4. No, actually he has accepted all 4. And by his mercy, he reproduces those 4 chapatis back into your plate as prasadam. So that becomes a yagya shishta. So yagya shishta amrita bhujo. So what do they take? Yagya shishta. So they take yagya shishta, they take the remnants of yagya. And what happens by that? Yanti Brahma Sanatanam. So they march towards Krishna, towards Brahman. So by cleaning our contamination, by performing the yajna, we march towards Krishna, we march towards Brahman. So the word Brahma is used here. So Prabhupada writes here, they advance towards a supreme eternal atmosphere because they have given up the contamination of gratifying their gross senses. Is it making clear? Every time we perform a yajna, we get a higher taste. All of the devotees here, perform different types of activities for the pleasure of the Lord. I'm remembering one activity, say book distribution. So many brahmacharis or many grahasthas as well, they go for book distribution. And they keep going for book distribution day in and day night, every week, every month. They are there on the street distributing Prabhupada books to the people, to the humanity. For what purpose? To make a livelihood? No. They do it for the compassion because they get a pleasure every time they go for a book distribution or Harinam, for example, or for any preaching program. Actually, they come back with double energy. They get more energy than ever before. You perform a service in the kitchen, actually get more energy. Your body may be tired, but actually inside your heart, you actually feel more energetic because you have cleansed some impurities in your mind, and then you feel light. And then you can move towards Krishna. So two benefits of yajna, what are they? First one is you get cleansed in your heart, and the more you get cleansed, the more you go towards the Lord. Because it says in Kali Yuga Jiva, for example, or any Jiva in the material, but they are contaminated. So what are we doing by doing different Krishna conscious activities? We are just removing the dirt which has been accumulated in our heart, in our mind for millions of life. And the more you remove it, the more you feel light and you feel pleasure in your heart because you're closer to Krishna. Okay, let's read the 431, which is a very nice conclusion given by Krishna of performance of yajna. A very small verse. Who would like to do that? Who hasn't done as Mahavasu Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nayam loko aste ajanasya.
Nayam loko asti ayagyasya.
Kuto anya kuru samattam.
Kuto anya kuru sattama.
So, O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. Then, sorry, what then of the next?
Yeah, so it's a very small verse. So you see in 429, there were 6 lines. So Prabhupada made that 2 extra lines based on the continuity of the thoughts. And here you see it's been balanced. It's only like 2 lines, 2 small lines. So what is this saying? So Naya, na ayam loko. Ayam loko is quite clear. In this loka where we are living, ayam loka, na ayam loka. It does not exist. What does not? Ayagyasya. So a person who is doing yajna is called yajna-minded person, for example. Ayagya means who has no interest in performing yajna. So Krishna is saying in this loka, if you have no interest in performing yajna, what will be the result? So Krishna first talks about if you have mentality of yajna, what are the 2 benefits? Now, so Prabhu, for example.
First is that you get purified.
Thank you. And the second is
you get closer to the Supreme Lord.
Thank you. So in the 430, he explained, if you are performing yajna, that will be the result. You get purified, you move towards Brahman, you move towards the supreme transcendental eternity. But if you do not perform yajna, Krishna always takes positive and negative. If you do not, in this loka, you have no yajna mentality, you don't perform yajna, what will be the result? Without sacrifice, one can never live happily in this planet or in this life. So if you do not perform yajna, you cannot live happily. And not only in this life, even in the future life, it says, Kuto Anya. Anya refers to the future lives. Kuru Sattam refers to Arjuna. So Anya refers to in Anya life. What to speak of Anya, even in this life, you cannot be happy. Now, let's take a simple example here. Can be hundreds of examples. If you're driving a car on the road, that's also a yajna because you have to drive in a particular lane, in a particular side, in a particular speed, watch your mobile detection cameras. We were talking about it, all these different cameras. So it's a yajna, isn't it? Here you park the car in Monday to Friday, only this time you can park only for 15 minutes and then this and that. One devotee was telling, he was teaching car to some other person, came from India. And he's saying, although he's born and brought up here, it was like, just a second nature of driving car. It's not too difficult. But when you teach to others, then you realize how many rules are there. You see, there's so many rules, and this board keeps increasing. I went somewhere and parking, there's 2 or 3 different boards. I was just reading which one applies this time. You get confused. There's so many boards are there. So in that sense, it's a yajna. Now, if you do not perform the yajna, for example, you park your car anywhere, you drive in any lane, in any speed, what will happen? I don't need to explain that, huh? You get a white ticket, isn't it? Sometime on your phone, sometimes physically in a yellow envelope. As soon as devotees walk towards the car and you see yellow envelope or white slip on the wiper, our hearts starts beating. There's a ticket there, huh? No one likes the ticket. So just a simple examples, if you do not perform yajna, even a simple thing as car driving or car parking, are you happy? You cannot be happy. So what to speak of other aspects of life? Huh? So every aspect of life, there's a yajna. You're living with a neighbor, you have a boundary. Inside the boundary, you're allowed to do whatever. But outside that boundary, you have to respect your neighbor. Huh? He has certain expectations as a genuine neighbor. So you have to respect his or her emotions. Huh? You have to respect road rules. You have to respect neighbor rules. You have to respect shopping rules, credit card rules, and whatnot. So everywhere the yajna principle applies. And if you do not follow it, you just go anywhere, anyhow, you will make accident for yourself and for others. You will injure yourself. Huh? I'm talking some very physical things here. Similar thing applies on the mental platform. So if you don't have a sacrifice mentality, you don't have this mentality of pleasing others, giving it to others, just taking mentality. Actually, it's not a very long term. No one likes friends who always likes to take. Anyone likes friend who always asking things from you? Prabhuji, can you give me this? Prabhuji, can you give me that? Prabhuji, can I do this at your pace? Prabhuji, this. Prabhuji, I am not unlimited, I'm limited, huh? But a person who likes to give you, would you like to have friendship with that person? Yeah, he's a very nice person. He's very genuine. Why is genuine? Because he likes to give. So that's why in our Vedic life, the principle of giving was taken more precedence over principle of taking. And you see in the material modern world, the principle of taking is more predominant. Everyone wants to take. And that's why there's a fight. How you want to take, how I want to take, that will be different. How much you want to take, how much I want to take, that will be different. And there's so many disagreements just because of this principle. We want to take from others. You see in a Vedic life, a simple, very nice example of Mother Sita, Lakshman. Why they are worshipped today? Because they are the examples of giving. Mother Sita was having a disagreement with Lord Ram. For what purpose? Lord Ram was saying, my dear wife, you stay in the palace, I'll come back very quickly. And what Mother Sita was saying, my dear husband, I want to come with you. Now, reverse the situation in the modern world. If the husband gets to go, overseas for 14 years, what the wife will say? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, see you later. But here wife is sort of disagreeing with the husband. Never heard in the Vedic culture. There was no disagreements that time. But they are disagreeing for what purpose? For sacrifice. No, I want to come with you. I want to, Mother Sita says, there's a verse in Sanskrit. When the thorns will come on your way, I will go in front of the thorns. And I will take all the thorns on me. Lakshman is having a disagreement with Lord Ram, saying, no, Bhaiya, I want to come with you. Bharat is having a disagreement with Lord Ram. For what purpose? No, you become the king. And Ram is saying, no, you become the king. There's a fight there as well. But there's a fight of love. And here, what happens when someone gives us, suppose, instead of Lord Ram, you were there in the jungle. Suppose you followed very obediently your father's words. You gave up the kingdom to someone else. Now imagine if that person comes, the mother, Kaikeyi, who gave you the sort of curse that you go to 14 years in the forest, she's also there. Guru Vashisth is saying to Lord Ram, you also please come. Imagine what will be your decision. Be honest. Sab log bula rahe to chale jate hain. Everyone is calling. Even Kaikeyi is calling. My Guru Maharaj is telling. You will have all the excuses of the world to go back. But did Lord Ram go back? No. He maintained full integrity. No, I have given my words. It's very austere. It's difficult. I will do it. Huh? And that's why he is so glorified. is called Maryada Purushottam Ram. So this principle which Krishna is proposing in this particular verse is extremely nice for all of us, because the principle of sacrifice is always glorified, always glorified. It may be difficult, sacrifice is difficult, it costs us money, it can take you some mental anxiety, you have to do physical so much arrangements, but actually it's very purifying, and by doing sacrifice you go towards Krishna. But if you don't have that sort of mood, where your mood is always to take from the world, like Ravan was always into the taking mood. It says Ravan valued more valuables more than the values. He always valuables. Sita, for the Sita, he said, chahiye, I have to have Sita. Everyone said, don't take Sita, you have so many other ladies. Just don't take this one. He said, no, I have to have this one. We know the result. But if you contrast Lanka versus Ayodhya, in Ayodhya, we give more importance to values rather than valuables. So wherever in the world, in our family, in our relationship with a friend, if you give more value to valuables, the relationship will not be very sustainable, not very sustainable. But if you give more values to the values, integrity, sacrifice, love in the service, love means service. Radhanath Maharaj clearly said, love means sacrifice, service. You serve others, that's called love. So this is the principle Krishna is giving this particular verse. So if you don't have that mood, you cannot live happily in this world. What to speak of in the other world? Kuto anyaha. Anya refers to the next life. You can't be happy. A very great message given by Krishna. Just one line. Let's move forward. Yeah, this is also nice verse 432. Who hasn't done? Akhand Rasa Prabhuji, would you like to do?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
432. Evam bahuvidha yajna.
Evam bahuvidha yajna.
Vitata brahmano mukhe.
Vitata brahmano mukhe.
Karma jana viditan sarvan.
Karma jana viditan sarvan.
Evam gnatva vimokshase.
Evam gyatva vimokshase.
All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So now it's saying Evam Bahvida Yajna. So how many different types of yajnas we read? Anyone can say few names? Bahvida. Bahvida means different types of yajnas. Anyone can say few types which we read? Thank you, Prabhuji. More? Thank you.
Yoga yajna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yoga yajna, swadhyaya yajna. So all these different types of yajna which we read. Evam Bahvida. So all these, Krishna is saying, where do they come from? Vitata, they come from Brahmano Mukhe. So Brahmana here Prabhupada writes as Veda. So they are not some whims that anyone is doing. So they are coming from Vedas. So Vitata refers to Prabhupada said are spread. So they are coming from Vedas. Karmajan Viditan Sarvan. So understand all these are based on what? Karma. So all these yajnas which we read just for this purpose here in this section, is any yajna which did not involve any activity? Did anyone see any yajna like that? Even for merging, I have to work. Even if I'm doing Ashtanga yoga, I have to do. I'm doing pranayam. I'm doing an activity. So basically, what Krishna is saying, karma jan, ja refers to janma. So they all they all born from karma. So you have to involve the activity. So what message Krishna is giving to Arjuna with this particular line? Karma jan viditan sarvan. So all of them are based on karma. They're coming from karma. So basically Krishna is telling to Arjuna, you cannot run away from the battlefield and saying, I will go to jungle and I will just not do any activity. It's not possible. Everywhere the yajna principle involves an activity. So if you consider the battlefield, as we discussed for Vishwanath Chakravarti commentary, as a yajna, you can do the yajna right here. Does that make sense? So this yajna principle you can also perform in this battlefield right here. So what will be the result of knowing this mentality of yajna? Evam gyatva, if you know this, Vimokshase, so you will get a, V refers to Vishesh. Vishesh means important. Vishesh moksha. Now, Vaishnava has a different understanding of this vimoksha. Impersonalists have different understanding. So, impersonalist moksha is like go and get merged. But Vaishnava says in Bhagavatam, there is a verse, I can't remember the verse exactly, but it says, identifying our original position in relation to the Supreme Lord is called moksha. So at the moment, we are all contaminated from different degrees of material modes of material nature. But when we uncover our jnana in relation to Krishna, that is called moksha. So evam gyata, once you know all this, the principle of sacrifice, you will become liberated. So Prabhupada saying, knowing them as such, what does the as such mean? Karma jan vidhi. So you should understand sacrifice is based on karma. A mother is doing so much sacrifice for a young child. She may not be able to sleep properly in the night. The child may always be demanding to come on the lap, and mother is very tired, but mother is still takes the child, changes the nappy of the child, tries to make some things nice for the child. Why is the mother doing? Mother is actually working very, very hard. But that in this sacrifice, she achieves a very great satisfaction in her heart. All the mothers can say that, yes or no. It's difficult, but they achieve a great satisfaction. If someone comes to your house, okay, Mataji, I'll take your kid for 3 days. What the mother will say? ठीक है भाई, रहने दो. I'm fine, I'm tired, but yeah, for 5-10 minutes it's all right. But then mother will be looking, oh, where is my kid? Where is my kid? Where is my kid? Because her mind is always on the kid. It's natural. It's natural. Why? She's doing sacrifice, but out of that sacrifice, she's achieving a great sense of pleasure in her heart that I'm looking after my kid as best of my capacity. She's very happy in that internal sense. So karma janviti. So sacrifice involves karma. Okay. And by knowing them, you will become liberated. Now, 33 is the last verse in this series. There's some comparisons given, and then we'll move to the next section. Who will read this? Sakhi Radhika Mataji, I think you're home now.
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
If you like to read.
Yes, Prabhu. Shreyan Dravyamayad Yajna.
Shreyan Dravyamayad Yajna.
Jnana Yajna Parantapa.
Jnana Yajna Parantapa.
Sarvam Karma Khilam Partha.
Sarvam Karma Khilam Partha.
Jnane Parishampyate.
Jnane Parisamapyate.
O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Partha, Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge.
Thank you, Mataji. So basically what is being compared here, so we read different types of yajna from 425 to 429, and then Krishna gave a conclusion. What's the result of the yajna? Two things Krishna gave. One is the purification, and then coming closer to the Brahman. In this case, our case in Krishna consciousness, coming closer to Krishna. Now Krishna is comparing all these yajnas in two categories. Very simple. So one is the dravya yajna. Dravya yajna means where some external possessions are involved, which you sacrifice for the sake of the Lord. Say, for example, your wealth, right? You give $1,000 to some orphanage or something. Oh, that's sort of a yajna. But he's saying that yajna, which is called dravya yajna, where you're involving some physical possessions, actually that's not so high. It's nice, it's not so high. So he's saying Shreyan, higher than dravya yajna is what? Jnana yajna. So jnana yajna, where your mental faculty is involved, that yajna is considered by Krishna higher than your then where only your physical things are involved. And then we can understand as well. So sometime you give a gift to your friend and say, oh, thank you, Prabhuji, such a nice, wonderful gift. But he knows in the heart, this Prabhuji doesn't like me so much. Will that be a good exchange of emotions there? Externally, you gave a very big amount of gift, a Hugo Boss t-shirt or something like that, cost $200. But unless the internal connection is there, will you be feeling very satisfied with that exchange? Not really. Now, in another case, the content of the gift may not be very great. It may be a little photo of Krishna from Vrindavan, but you know, this Prabhuji or this Mataji, you know, they have a very great love for me, then in that exchange you will feel much more fulfilled, isn't it? We all experience that. So emotions are not just into these, you know, external things. Emotions are into real emotions and how much genuine this person is, what's his purpose of giving that. So we see our internal emotions are always higher than the external things. Sometimes people give more values to outside things, but inside they're all empty. They're all empty. Unless you get genuine love and affection and care from other person, you don't feel so satisfied. And once you get that, even the externals are not so much, you're okay. That's fine. If in prasadam is only simple, you know, water is there, but the love between devotees are there, that water will feel like amrit, will feel like nectar. There's a lot of prasadam, but there's not much attention or care or love given by the host. You will not feel satisfied in this house. So similarly, Jnana Yajna is considered by Krishna much more higher than Dravya Yajna. So when you're giving, I remember one incident, Amok Lila Prabhu was explaining, I think his Guru Maharaj, if I'm not wrong, maybe some other sannyasi. He was invited by a host, very rich person. That's what I heard in the class. So he invited one sannyasi to his house to do some programs. So the sannyasi arrived, but while he was doing kirtan and then he started class, both husband and wife, they offered Maharaj a big seat and a garland and, you know, all those things. Were not sitting in the class. They're actually inside the kitchen or inside the house preparing for more things. And when Maharaj finished the class, they both came out and said, "Oh Maharaj, we were preparing some bhoga, this and that. So I have now offered, so Maharaj, please." Maharaj actually was very upset on those grahasthas. He said, when I come to your place, the most important activity for you guys is to sit with me and grasp some Krishna consciousness. You may prepare 30 dishes for me, but I'm not here to eat your 30 dishes. So Maharaj eventually did not accept anything in that house. Giving a principle, so Maharaj cannot be upset, but the principle Maharaj passed for the public, it's not just how many offerings I'm making for my spiritual master, it's how I am making those offerings. That is more important. So making 30 offerings, that's very nice, but how I am making, what's my mood? What's my mood in offering that? Am I taking the higher purpose first or just a lower purpose? Higher purpose is to take association of Maharaj. When Maharaj comes for katha, you listen katha. And Maharaj emphasized that so many times. Katha is more important. Prasad, the Guru Maharaj says, anyone can cook, anyone can cook. But when Bhagavatam class is going on, he said, you must sit, you must sit. So this jnana, again, we are talking here, Krishna Anukul Gyan, not Pratikul Gyan, is much more important than our outside position. And at the end of the day, we all know Krishna is Bhavagrahi. He is not Dravyagrahi. You can offer Krishna nice prasadam in a golden plate with all the jewels on top of it. Krishna will not even look at it. When Duryodhan called Krishna for a big feast, did Krishna accept it? No, he went to Vidura's house. What did he get there? The peels of banana. He didn't even get banana. He got peels of banana. Krishna happily ate those peels of banana. So we can experience that. We have examples in Shastra. So Jnana Yajna Parantapa. So Jnana Yajna again, here Jnana is talking about Bhakti Anukul Gyan, a Gyan which is bringing us closer to the Lord. We are reading Bhagavad Gita right now. It's not for becoming a scholar. It's for coming closer to the Lord. We are reading Prabhupada's explanations. We are reading these verses, trying to understand a little bit as per our capacity to understand the heart of Krishna so that we can come close to Krishna. So Jnana Yajna is always more important than Dravya Yajna. Again, Dravya Yajna is appreciated, but not as much as Jnana Yajna. And then finally, Krishna says, Sarvam Karma Akhilam. So whatever karma you are doing in this yajnas, what do they end up with? They should end up with, rather I should say, they should end up with Jnane Parisamapyate. They should get more Bhakti and Kul Gyan. They should get a Gyan. So if I perform a big sacrifice, what should be the result? Generally in the society, people perform big yajna for name and fame. So that Seerji performed a yajna, there were 100 Brahmins there, and then he distributed gold-plated biscuits and whatever. So they are performing this probably to save their tax or for name and fame. That sacrifice is not considered very big. But if you perform even a small sacrifice for Krishna's pleasure, that is very, very important. And even if you do outside activity for Krishna's pleasure, that should bring you closer to the Lord. So it's saying Jnane Parisamapyate. So Shreyandra Mayat Yagya, Jnana Yagya Parantapa, Sarvam Karma Akhilam Partha. Akhilam refers to all. In someone from Maharashtra here, Akka, they call it Akka India. Everyone knows that word, at least from movies. Akka India. Akka means Akhil. It comes from Sanskrit word Akhil. So Akhil refers to, there are many people named Akhil. Akhil means everything. So Karma Akhilam. So all these Akhil karmas, all these karmas, they should end up in Jnana. So Prabhupada writes, all sacrifices of work, see, you are working in a mood of sacrifice, culminate in transcendental knowledge. They should bring you closer to the Lord. So Prabhupada and Krishna very nicely explain different types of yajna, what's the result of yajna. Now, in the last section, Krishna will explain, I'll just go to the PDF file, summary of the transcendental knowledge, or somewhere you will find it's called Glories of Transcendental Knowledge. So he's explained different types of knowledge, and he said it should end up in transcendental knowledge, all different types of yajnas, and he says Jnana Yajna is higher than Dravya Yajna. Now the question arises, Baldev Vidyabhushan writes, where do you get this Jnana Yajna? Where do you get this Jnana? How do you get this Jnana? So where do you get, and how? Where means you have to go to Kohl's or Woolworths to get the Jnana, and how means how much currency you have to pay, right? There are two things. Suppose some Mohit Prabhu tells you, Prabhuji, can you buy blueberries for Srimati Radharani? You go, Prabhuji, kahan milega? Where do we get the blueberries? Prabhu, we go to Kohl's, you will get it. So, kaise milega? How do you get it? Prabhu, you have to pay $20. So, where and how? And then you'll say, what do you do with the blueberries? We'll offer to Srimati Radharani. So, where do you get the Jnana? How do you get the Jnana? And what is the glories of the Jnana? That has been explained in the final section of this verse, which starts from verse 34, one of the most important verses for ISKCON devotees. Every devotee knows this verse, I'm sure about it. If you don't, please learn. Very important verse. Let's read that. Now, I saw a hand of Sakhi Radhika Mataji earlier.
No, Prabhu, I was relating to the Vaishnav song where you mentioned that Duryodhan ka bhog na khayo sukh saag vidur ghar khayo aise prem pujari pyare sham sham.
Yeah.
I was relating it to that.
Yeah, thank you, Mother. No, it's very nice. So we should try to connect this philosophy into our day-to-day life. That's the whole idea. So if we are just big in terms of show off, that's not going to work. One more thing I just remembered, just on the name of Duryodhan. Duryodhan was also serving Durvasa Muni. We know that pastime. Duryodhan was serving Durvasa Muni, and so nicely, like pleasing Durvasa is not an easy thing. But Duryodhan actually pleased Durvasa. But what was the intention of Duryodhan of pleasing Durvasa? To destroy Pandavas. So serving a devotee is very nice. But if you have this intention, some Radhanath Maharaj called ulterior motives of performing devotional acts, it will not work. You'll not get closer to Krishna, because actually you're increasing your contamination. So many times we see, so-called devotees also serving sannyasis, but for what purpose? So our purpose should be very clear. We talk about Prabhuji, mercy, mercy, mercy. Prabhu, can I get some mercy? Most of the time, people even don't know the word mercy meaning. Anyone knows the meaning of word mercy? Not, I'm talking a literal translation here. In our
something which we don't deserve, we get it.
We don't deserve, we get it. Okay. What's the result of that? So, okay, I may get Mother, for example, $1 million. I say, Mother, I got the mercy.
I use it in the service of the Lord, then it's
service of the Lord. Yes, some more things, some more deeper. You're right, Mataji, but in that direction, I want to listen to something else. That is the mercy. We all say mercy, mercy, mercy. What does it mean in our day-to-day life, that mercy? Simple translation of verse mercy is, you should come closer to Krishna. You should feel more attracted towards Krishna than before. So I got the mercy of, say, this Guru Maharaj or this Vaishnava. By serving this Vaishnava, I feel closer to the Lord. That's mercy, not away from the Lord. Away from the Lord means I become very proud. Actually, I'm the only servant of Guru Maharaj in Sydney. If I am not there, who will look after the Guru Maharaj? If I am not there, who will run Radha Gopinath temple? Radha Gopinath just laughs at us. If I am not there, how this project will be managed? I am so important. Now, you should do your best in any project or service given. But if you have this feeling of I after the service, if your ego has increased, actually, you haven't got the mercy. You haven't got the mercy. Mercy means your heart should feel more light. You should be more feeling appreciation for other devotees. Your heart should, if your heart is in anxiety, actually devotional service is not performed well. It's a very simple definition. Nityananda Prabhu said that if after doing devotional service, if your heart is in anxiety, now anxiety I'm using here for the wrong thing. If you have anxiety for Krishna, that's different. Huh? If you have anxiety in a relationship, if you have anxiety in your position, so-called position, if you have anxiety for others, actually you have not performed devotional service nicely. Your mood wasn't well. Otherwise, the result of performing devotional service with the correct mood is you feel light, you feel appreciated, you feel happy in the heart, and you pass this happiness to others. That is called mercy. That is called mercy. Otherwise, it's all external. It's all external. We should not try not to do. Start with external, that's fine. Start with external activities. It should move towards internal. Should move towards it. Guru Maharaj knows every single thing we are doing. Huh? Every single, you don't have to show. When a guru comes, you see 30 devotees around that guru. And when guru goes back, you only see those 30 devotees when the guru comes back next. They just want to prove how important they are and how serious they are. Huh? So, okay, Guru brings some nice feeling in them. That's nice, but that's not the mercy we are after. We are after literally inside thing where we feel more attracted towards Lord. Yes, by serving this devotee, by listening to this devotee, by doing something for this devotee or these deities or some service, I feel more closer towards Krishna. That's mercy. More attraction towards Krishna. That's the definition. Not that I feel I'm becoming more popular, actually. That's actually non-mercy. Non-mercy. It says Lord Shiva always give two types of mercies, Sakapat Krapa and Nishkapat Krapa. Sakapat Krapa means a krapa, a mercy which is mixed with kapat, chal, deceit. Lord Shiva is giving mercy with deceit. Oh, why is he giving? That's what you want. You want material possession. Ravan, I want Sone ka Lanka, I want golden Lanka. Go for it, man. Go for it. He got Sone ka Lanka, you got golden Lanka. What was the result? He got destroyed by Lord Ram. Same Lord Shiva comes to Prachetas and gives mercy. Prachetas didn't go to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva came to Prachetas and said, oh, you are performing devotion to Lord Vishnu. I'm so happy with you. And he is giving a mantra. It's called Rudra Geet. You can look at, I think, 424, 4th canto of Bhagavatam, 24th chapter. So he is giving Rudra Geet. He is giving a Geet. He is giving a series of verses saying, oh, Prachetas, if you sing these verses, Lord Vishnu will come very fast. And that's what happened. Lord Shiva gave a series of verses, and these Prachetas followed the instruction of Lord Shiva as a Vaishnava, and Lord Vishnu appeared so fast. That is the real mercy of Lord Shiva. So real mercy of a devotee is not how great I am, how great Lord is, how much he loves me. I want to love this Lord more. Krishna is so beautiful, he's so compassionate, he's so kind. I want to love, I want to do something for Prabhupada. That is called mercy. That is called mercy. So we should be very clear about not just our external services. You put a lot of effort in your services, but at the end of the day, you're far from Krishna. You're more closer to your anarthas. You're more closer to your lust. Lust means, I was just listening a lecture, and Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj gave a definition of lust. He said, if you are aspiring for popularity and fame, that's also a lust. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said that. So if you are aspiring for popularity and fame, it's called lust. You are having a lot of lust. Here does not mean male-female attraction. Here it means you in your heart you want more fame. You may get fame, but you'll not get Krishna. So every service we do, we should be very clear about the purpose of the seva. Then the service will be fructified very fast, very, very fast. Otherwise, there's not much difference in the dress, not much difference in the content of Bhagavad Gita. Everyone can read Bhagavad Gita and cram few verses, but that does not necessarily mean we are coming closer to Krishna. So our purpose should be always in our foreground. This is why I am worshipping Krishna. This is why I go to Prabhupada. This is why I go to ISKCON. This is why I do a particular seva. I want mercy. That means I want to come closer to Lord. I want to come closer to devotees. I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate other devotees. I'm not envious. If you feel envious, actually, you're not improving. But if you feel appreciative of other devotees' service, how beautiful this Prabhuji is doing, how beautiful this Mataji is doing, I want to do more. I want to do more. From the bottom of your heart. Then you should feel my anarthas are going and Krishna is coming. Okay, Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Actually, I want to ask you, sometimes when you mentioned the last part, so when sometimes when you have like devotees, they're praising or they are saying some nice things about you for maybe like you've done some nice service or some something which they like that you've done in the temple or at home while serving Krishna nicely. So they feel happy, so they would say some nice words or some nice comments to you in the form of praising you. So like uh in that way, obviously being in a submissive mood or humble, like you don't want to really hear, but inside you're also feeling good about that when they're saying that. So is that lust or what's that?
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Very nice question. So this question is a very practical question actually, can be seen in two different levels. So from a neophyte perspective, we all want to be appreciated. Someone doesn't like to be appreciated? I do, isn't it? If someone appreciates you, be honest, you like it. You like to hear your glories more and more. Huh? But that's a neophyte level, and that's okay. Huh? You have a small child, you want to teach something to your child, you say, beta, if you do this, you'll get one lollipop or whatever. In the beginning stage, this is how you train your kids or your small brothers and sisters, and same principle applies for neophyte devotees. So there's nothing wrong with that. Huh? If someone has done a nice service, again, it should be genuine. That one principle we have to make, it should be genuine. It should not be just a matter of words. You can see that no one is foolish. We can see that. First principle, always, whether neophyte or advanced, it should be from the bottom. Prabhuji, thank you what you have done. Huh? From the bottom of the heart, I appreciate your service. But that Prabhu or that Mataji, in this case say us, we should not start feeling. He says when we perform devotion, two things will come to us. One, Lakshmi will come to us. It will come because you're worshipping Lakshmi Pati. So Lakshmi should always be given to Lakshmi Pati, Vishnu. Huh? If you get $1 million or $10 million, no problem at all. Give that money to Prabhupada, or at least make Prabhupada as the owner. Huh? You can be a caretaker for that amount of period. Please always consider this Lakshmi belongs to Lakshmi Pati. Give Lakshmi to Lakshmi Pati. When the glory come, it says, glory also come, as you're asking, right? Suppose you're not neophyte and we're not supposed to be neophyte. Glory, whom should the glory go to? To our Guru. Now that Guru can be our Siksha Guru, that can be our Vartma Pradarshak Guru, that can be a family member, our mother or father or sister who inspired us to do that seva. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for inspiring me to do this seva. I felt good and I got appreciated. I got acknowledged. So there's nothing wrong. Suppose a community who's always criticizing you, will like to go in that community, in that friend circle, they're always criticizing you. Oh, Prabhu, you are wrong. You have done this thing wrong, that thing wrong. Today we had volunteer appreciation. How many criticism did you hear on the stage at least? Zero. Huh? People were appreciating, and you could see there was some truth in that. Huh? And you can see if the truth is there, your heart feels inspired. So acknowledging someone, encouraging someone is always needed, always needed. Even sannyasis inspire, Prabhupada inspired devotees. But first thing, it was genuine. It was genuine. But when you are appreciated, you should feel, because of my Guru. In 7th chapter, Mataji will read, Buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinam aham. So buddhi, by which you perform the seva, for which you are appreciated, actually Krishna says, I am the buddhi of the intelligent. So we don't have access to our buddhi, right? Anyone has access to his own buddhi or her buddhi? I don't know. You put your hand inside. Today I will perform better buddhi job, better intelligent job. It doesn't work that way. So our buddhi is also owned by Krishna. Krishna says, Sarvasichaham hridi sannivishto matta ispratir jnanam apohanam cha. So I give the remembrance and I give the forgetfulness. So actually we have no access to our buddhi. So whatever activities we perform, it's should be considered it has happened by the grace of Krishna and by the grace of Guru. Huh? If they don't give us access, I'm speaking right now, I may forget the things, isn't it? I am not responsible for my own buddhi. Krishna is allowing me to speak at this moment. If tomorrow, if Krishna does not allow me, physically or mentally, I will just get switched off. Prabhupada gave a very nice example. Your fan is running because your plug is on. Now you can say, oh, I'm the controller. I can switch off the fan. I can switch on the fan, or say a light. I just switched on the light, right? So I may be the control right now, but imagine if the electricity board switches off my whole electricity for my apartment. I can switch on and off, switch on and off, on and off. Will electricity come in this bulb? No, because the main switch is off. That main switch is Krishna. is Krishna. So we should see from two perspectives, Mataji, from a neophyte level, for advanced neophyte level, most welcome, encouragement, and you should encourage. But when you get encouraged by others in your heart, again, it's not, Prabhuji, maine nahi kiya. And inside heart, Prabhuji, please say some more words. No, I'm feeling so great about it. Inside your heart, say, thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for allowing me to do the service. These devotees are pleased. I'm so thankful to you. And you feel like that. If suppose, I've seen it, but I don't say it. I'll just say the principle. Someone made something. This person gave, I've seen in front of my eyes, very nice thing. A lot of hard work was put into this eatables, a prasadam thing. And this person could not attend to that sannyasi. So this person gave this box of prasadam, very nice prasad, to another person. Can you please offer to that sannyasi? This person took the prasad to that sannyasi, and the sannyasi said, Mataji, this is very, very nice. You made it. This person says, yes. When I saw that, I did not like it, actually. I did not like it. Should have straight away said, no, not me. Another devotee has made. But the credit was taken. Now, okay, in the words, you can take the credit, but Krishna knows. Krishna knows what's the truth. So you should not do that. We should not do that. If someone is being appreciated from the bottom of your heart, yeah, I didn't do it. And you try to make that for that sannyasi. And that is your offering. So when someone is appreciated, and you know, it should not come to me. I'm just literally an instrument in the middle. I just took the sabji from the kitchen and I offered it on the top in the sannyas room. You're not the doer. Someone else has done a lot of hard work, shopping, cleaning, cooking, offering. You literally took a bucket of sabji and started serving. You're just like a little spoon. You've done some seva, that's nice, but 99% work is done by someone else. So when you give glory to that person, then you get the mercy. Lal Govind Prabhu said very nice thing in one class. He said, many times we give references. We give references for the purpose of I know so much. So Lal Govind Prabhuji said, when you give references, again, as much as possible, many times we don't remember the source, that is okay. But he said, you should give reference from the person you got the reference from. When you do that, you get the mercy of that Vaishnava. I really like that. I heard in the lecture of, say, Radheshyam Prabhu, I heard the lecture of, say, Radhanath Maharaj. You should mention the name, because by mentioning those names, you're giving glory to that person who actually gave you that piece of information. And by doing that, you're getting the mercy from Radhanath Maharaj or some other Guru Maharaj, or a book or a devotee. You say, I learned this nice thing from this devotee. So our purpose is to get the mercy, not to stop the flow of the mercy. So don't take the words in terms of neophyte. Take in terms of serious. Yes, I've done something. You don't deny it. Decorated the deities. Yes, I've done it. But the inspiration, the knowledge came from my mother, from my sister, from my friend who gave me this training. So I'm very thankful to that person who's the source. And thank you to Krishna who gave me the opportunity. There were 100 devotees there. I was chosen. When it says in Golok Vrindavan, it was a nice pastime when Radharani was getting convinced to come down to earthly planet. So Krishna says, okay, we and Radharani is going to earthly planet. Who wants to come? And everyone raised the hand. I want to come. I want to come. I want to come. But Krishna only chose few devotees. So we want to be those chosen devotees by Krishna, and Krishna will only choose you if you have a genuine heart. Genuinity means you literally become an instrument of passing the mercy. You are giving the sabji, that's fine. But Prabhuji, I have not made this sabji. A lot of devotees in the kitchen working day and night. They have done the hard work. I'm just standing here taking the glory. I don't deserve this glory. If you have that heart, the glories will not impact you, Give the glories to your Guru, give Lakshmi to Lakshmipati. You'll be safe all the time. Simple principle. You feel in your heart, what I have done, even if you have done everything, if Krishna switches it off, I forget what I can do. There's no means I can put a spoon inside and screw inside. Nikal nahi raha hai, nikalo. There's nothing you can do. Krishna allows. Matta smritir jnanam aponam cha. I give the forgetfulness, I give the remembrance. Krishna is very clear about it. Okay? So that's why coming closer to philosophy helps us to come closer to Krishna, because we know the reality. That's why we're reading the books. There's no other purpose. There is no other purpose of reading the books except to know Krishna, how sweet he is. His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj said very nicely in one class, He started the class with this sentence. I'll say in Hindi because Maharaj said, and then I'll translate in English. He said, "हम सब जानते हैं कृष्णा महान है, but हम ये नहीं जानते कृष्णा कितने महान हैं." We all know how, we know Lord is great, but we don't know how great Lord is. He said, once you know how great the Lord is, you have no other choice except to love him. I love Maharaj this sentence. You have no other choice except to love. This person loves me so much. I need to do something for this person. I need to do something. That is the purpose of knowledge. Vidya dadati vinayam. If you are Vidya, you're knowledgeable. What will come first? Humility in your heart will come. If humility is not coming, you're not achieving knowledge. You're just achieving some intellect. Krishna is not going to get pleased by that intellect. Is that okay, Mataji? I'm sorry, I probably gone over the board.
Yes, Prabhu. So basically in a nutshell, like you're saying that we should accept the whatever we are getting, like in the form of getting like a praise or encouragement from devotee, we should offer that to our Guru Maharaj or glorify all those glories, pass it to the spiritual master or Guru and Krishna.
Simple. You go to your friend's house and she gives you a nice kalakan for your mother. Suppose
she likes that.
Like kalakan. Suppose you don't like. If you like, you'll eat in the car. But suppose you don't like, what do you do? Come home and say, "My dear mother, my friend gave me this kalakan for you," isn't it? That's what you'll do because it's for you. Yeah, if you like it, as soon as you sit in the car, your eyes will be on the box of kalakan. My mother won't mind if I take half of it. When you eat half, maybe little more. It's so nice. I'm giving the example of kalakan because yesterday I had no intention of eating kalakan. I opened a box which had kalakan. I thought I'll take a little bit. I end up eating like half of the box, but it was given to me, so it was not given to anyone else. So I ate quite a lot of kalakan last night, although I had not much plan to eat kalakan. Anyway, it can be any other. So give the glory, take the glory, give it to the real person. And the real person is our special master, Srila Prabhupada. Okay, let's do this verse and then we'll stop the discussion. Who will read this verse? One of the best verses of Bhagavad Gita.
Can I read it, Prabhu?
Yes, Madhu, please.
Let's just read it on my phone. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashena
sevaya
upadekshanti te jnanam jnani sattvadarshina. Translation: just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is, as I said, one of the most famous verses of Bhagavad Gita. There, Krishna explains the need of a guru, because many times this question is asked, why do we need a guru? What does a guru do? And all those things. So Krishna very clearly in Bhagavad Gita in this verse says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Now, there are many things we can take from this verse. Let's start from the bottom line. Tattva darshinaha. So anyone remembers the word tattva used in this chapter earlier? One of the again famous verses. Now also Prabhu is speaking something I can't hear. My limitation of the ear.
It is tattvata.
Yes. Where is it, Prabhuji? Verse number and verse?
Sorry, Prabhu.
4.9.
Yes.
Tattvataha. So if you know my Janma and Karma are Divya, are transcendental, what is the result? Second line, Rupam Prabhuji, of this verse? Everyone knows this one.
Punarjanmana vidyate.
Thank you. Punarjan. Naiti mameti sorjuna. So you will punarjanma vidyate one, and you will come back to me. So if you know Krishna by tattva, what's the first benefit you get? Punarjanmana vidyate. And what will happen? You will not go into a Brahman or something. Krishna is very clear. Huh? So one thing you can say, you are out of the jail. So you're out of the jail, that's fine. But you're not at home. You're on the street. You know, you're in the middle position. That's like a Brahman position. Bhakti Maharaj said. You left the misery, but you have not reached to your home. So you're not at home. You're not comfortable, right? No one is comfortable in the street. And you would like to go for a street parade for 1 or 2 hours, then you come back home. So Tattva Darshana. So Tattva Darshana, these people who have seen the truth. So what are the benefit? As per 4.9, they are already gone back to Godhead. Huh? Not maybe physically, as I said, Jivan Mukta. So they are Tattva Darshana, they are the seers of the truth. So we can say they are different from us. Huh? So Prabhupada gave a very nice example. If everyone in the room has his hands bound, can you open the hand of another person? You can't. Only person who can open your hand is the person who is unbound. So who is the unbound person in this room? So when you're talking about this room, is in this world, he exists, but his hands are not bound. Our hands are bound. How our hands are bound? You can say, my hands are free. I can go anywhere. Is that true? Our hands are bound. Our legs are bound. Anyone? How we are bound? Vinay Prabhu is smiling very nicely. He knows the answer.
We are in the samsara, so we have lots of responsibility, work, lots of commitment, everything.
Thank
but
you.
Guru or Sannyasi doesn't have that much thing. They always engage with Krishna service.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we can say what Prabhuji said in one word: we are bound with modes of material nature. Everyone agrees with that? Huh? So we are not bound with the physical shackles, but we are all bound with the modes of material nature. Someone is bound with the modes of ignorance, more with the passion, some with sattva. We are all bound. Prabhupada said gold chain, silver chain, or iron chain, they're all chains. So we are all bound. The only person who is not bound with the modes of material nature is your spiritual master. Huh? So why the word Jnani is used for the spiritual master, not Bhakta? Any ideas? Ideally, it should be Bhakta. A guru is a Bhakta. He's not just a Jnani. We are in the Jnana section. We're talking transcendental knowledge. Krishna has not reached as yet to Bhakta. Huh? So he's saying Jnana. Huh? So we can interpret in that way. So he is a spiritual master, obviously, a bona fide spiritual master, a devotee of the Lord. But Krishna is using the word Jnani. So Jnaniness, a person who is Jnani, who is aware of the knowledge of Krishna. Now also, if you see 7:19, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvan Mam Prapadite Vasdeva Sarmiti Samhatma Sudurlabha. So Jnani word is used there as well. Huh? So it's in the process, surrendering to Krishna. So Jnaninas Tattva Darshana. So this person is Tattva Darshana. That means he is liberated. That's the first thing. Now, Tad Vidhi, we should get the knowledge from him. What does Tad refers to? Tad refers to what we have just learned in the previous verses. What we have learned from the previous verses, you should perform the sacrifice. And with the sacrifice, you'll get the result. Two results you will get. What are the two results of sacrifice? Someone very quickly. Two results of sacrifice. 4:30.
Purification, liberation.
Thank you. Purification and liberation. So how do you get this knowledge? So you approach a person who is a Tattva Darshana. He's not like one of us. He may be present in the room. He present the world. He's not one of us. He's outside the modes of material nature. So how do you get the knowledge? Three things mentioned in the verse. Huh? But pranipatena refers to you approach a spiritual master. Huh? We'll expand on this verse just in a minute. Pariprashnena, prashna is a Hindi or Sanskrit word, questioning, inquisitiveness, huh? And sevaya. So you can have a note of these three words. So how do you achieve the gyan from this Jnani or this Tattva Darshana? We humbly approach this person, we become inquisitive with this person, and we serve this person. So if you do these three principles with this person, then the Gyan will be transferred from his heart to our heart. Gyan is not something one man or maybe a woman, I can't remember, went to Prabhupada and this person said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, when my guru touches me, I get an electric shock. Prabhupada said, if you start chanting Hare Krishna, all these shocks will go. Someone said, Prabhupada, when I do the meditation, I see that white light. Prabhupada said, start chanting Hare Krishna, the light will go away. So no other guru will say something like that except Prabhupada. They will say, oh, you're seeing light, you're already very advanced. Prabhupada say, chant Hare Krishna, light will go. They say, you chant Hare Krishna or other mantras, the light will come. Prabhupada said, no, light will go. Huh? Shocks will go. Because this is not about getting a shock or seeing a light. Spiritualism is not like that. Spiritualism is coming closer to Krishna in our heart. It's not changing our dress. Just by changing a dress to a sannyasi dress, do you think anyone can become a devotee? Just by changing the dress of a sannyasi? Many children perform, drama in Janmashtami. Huh? Someone I remember becoming Bhishma Pitama, someone becoming Yudhishthir, someone becoming Krishna. I see Nidhi Mataji here. Radhika became Krishna. Huh? That was a role played by this little kid for that 10-15 minutes. Huh? But you can't become Krishna just by dressing like Krishna. You can't become Yudhishthira just by dressing like Yudhishthira. It's very clear, right? So similarly, just by changing the dress, things inside us doesn't change. So how the things will change? By sevaya, by service. And Prabhupada always emphasized the service part more than anything. You should serve. And whom you should serve? Serve the spiritual master. So 3 principles are given for a seeker who is really want to become closer to Krishna. He should approach whom he should approach a Tattva Darshana, not just anyone who gives a shock. We are not shock giving treatment. Prabhupada said we are not making some sugar or some ashes. Some swamis I know, don't want to name it, they make ashes out of mitti. They are considered very big. They have 50,000 followers. Prabhupada said, we don't make all these ashes. We don't do all this shock treatment. What we do, we try to bring you closer to Krishna. Our mantra is very, very open. There's no secret, no charges involved. You can come to temple, you can chant Hare Krishna. Everyone welcome. Prabhupada said even a dog can perform devotion service. Okay, so 3 things are given for the seeker, and this is the seer. This is called the seer of the truth. Now I'm seeing the watch is 6:15. I started the verse, but I can't complete it. It's a big verse, so we'll continue with this verse next time, and we'll probably finish this chapter next time as well. If there's any quick questions, I can take. Everyone understood? Nodding the head. That means probably no understood, nothing. Anyway, I take it like in the middle. You have learned something, but you have not learned nothing. Please read these purports of Prabhupada. They're very, very nice. We'll read the purport of this as well. I'm just giving the literal translation. We'll read Prabhupada purports. We'll try to learn the literal meaning and the application meaning in our life. This verse is very important, very, very important. And I'll try to give some question answers which some people ask about ISKCON gurus and all that as well. Okay, so let's stop here. Sumit Prabhu, is there any important announcement for us?
No, Prabhu, I think it's all good for this week. We'll just have a regular class next Sunday.
So we'll meet next Sunday,
yes,
18th of September, 4 o'clock somewhere. Somewhere we'll publish, and then we'll continue from 4:34 onwards. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. I know everyone was very busy since morning, so thank you for coming. No one was sleeping in the class. At least I can't see anyone sleeping. So thank you. Please read the purports before you come. It will benefit all of us more. And if I forget any points, you can remind me of those points and share those points in the class. Okay. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.